Welcome to Understand. I'm Jordan from SciTools. Stop me if this sounds familiar. You're in the zone, the logic is flowing, and then you have to reach for your mouse. Suddenly, your momentum is gone. If you want to write code at the speed of thought, you have to master your editor's macros. Today, we're going to take this messy C++ file and refactor it entirely from the keyboard. We're going to navigate, move blocks of logic, and clean up variables without clicking a single menu. Note that since I'm on the Mac operating system, these key bindings will be specific to my OS. For those of you on Windows, simply go to Tools, Options, Key Bindings to check or set up your own editor macros. So for me, it'll be under Understand, Preferences, Key Bindings. And to filter them by editor macros only, simply search editor in the top search bar here. Okay, now there are certain macros I'm sure everyone is familiar with. Copy, which is Command plus C, paste, Command plus V, undo, Command plus Z, and select all, Command plus A. But let's dive deeper into some of the useful ones that aren't quite as common. To start, let's jump directly to line 11 to get right into the if statement. We can do this by pressing Command plus L, typing the line number, and then hitting enter. Now we can navigate quickly to the opening bracket by pressing Command plus right arrow. Now that we're next to the bracket, you can see on line 24, the matching closing bracket is also highlighted. In order to jump directly to the matching closing bracket, we can press Command plus J. And vice versa, Command plus J will take us from a closing bracket to its matching opening bracket. If we'd like to select everything inside of a pair of matching brackets, we can just press Shift while we do that. So Shift, Command J. And that will select everything. Okay, so let's go up to line 15, where we want to cut this line. You can simply use Command plus K to cut a line. As you can see, this deletes the line and it moves the closing bracket below it to that line. Now we're going to move up to line 8, and we're going to do Command plus V to paste it. Let's say we'd like to swap the speed limit and internal code ins. So I'm going to move one up to where I have line 8 highlighted, and simply press Command plus T to transpose it and essentially switch that line with the line above it. Okay, now let's say we want to create a new variable. With our cursor on line 8, we can press Shift plus Command plus T to copy the entire line. Now we'll move down with our arrow key and Command plus V to paste it in. So now we have another int called speed limit. We'll move up one and over to the speed limit. Then we'll press Shift plus Command plus the right arrow to select the entire variable name. And we'll name this one Safety Threshold. Save that. Note that we could also delete the entire variable name by going over to the end of the variable name and pressing Command plus Delete. But we'll undo that. And another thing to mention is when you have your cursor on a line, you can actually duplicate the entire line by simply pressing Command plus D, like so. But we'll undo that as well. Let's put that into action by renaming this extremely long variable name, temporary calculation value for motor output. So we can just press Command plus backspace to delete it, and we'll rename it calculation value. Now, I also just noticed that one of our variable names there's a typo in it. Speed limit on line 13 is accidentally capitalized. So if we go over to it and we press Command plus left arrow to select it, we can actually quickly uncapitalize it with an editor macro. That macro is Command plus U. So now it matches the variable declaration on line 8. So now let's go ahead and delete any unnecessary comments that we still have lying around. So this comment on line 16 we don't need anymore. So if we go to the end of line 16, we can cut to the cursor from the start of the line with Option Command Shift plus K. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll delete this one about the typo. And we'll also delete this one about cleaning up the file. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is just comment out these debug statements down on line 20 and 21. So if we go down to line 20 and we hold Shift and press the down arrow, then we'll use the editor macro Command plus period to simply comment out these debug statements. All right, now let's save and analyze our file. And just like that, we've refactored the function, renamed our variables, and cleaned up the debug clutter, all without our hands ever leaving the keyboard. The goal isn't just to save a few seconds here, it's to stay in a sort of flow state. When you don't have to think about how to move a line, you have more room to think about what that line is doing. Pick 2 of these shortcuts today and use them until they're muscle memory. Your future, faster self will thank you. Thanks for watching and happy coding. To learn more about editor macros or anything else in Understand, visit support.scitools.com.